Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is in the process of breaking out from an ascending channel formation that has been testing as resistance for over a year and a half. This is absolutely huge news because obviously if we manage to break that, we can see this move to the upside advance at a rapid rate. But with that said, I'm not willing to buy yet. I don't think that breakout is confirmed yet, and I still think we have actual relevant resistance levels that we need to be watching up above. So when am I going to be willing to buy Bitcoin? Where do I think this uptrend is going? And when do I think we will see a correction? Because believe me, I think we will see a correction between now and the halving. When's that going to happen? Guys, thanks for watching in advance. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. I want people to understand what I'm about to say very clearly. The ascending channel that has formed on Bitcoin since August 2022, okay, has broken to the upside on the weekly chart. We have 21 hours remaining until that breakout is confirmed. I want to be very clear about what I say here. This was the only bearish pattern, okay, on macro scale that I can personally see on the Bitcoin chart that was remaining. And the fact that it's broken to the upside is absolutely phenomenal. But we're going to look at that in a second. And I want you to watch this entire video because it's not as simple as that. There are nuances to this, and me saying that doesn't mean, oh, we should buy right now, because I actually don't think we should be buying right now. I'm going to get into that in a second, but that is absolutely superb. We'll look at that in a minute here. Guys, Bitcoin is surging to the upside. There's no doubt about it. We did a poll 9 days ago here, and 57% of my audience said we'd be breaking 40K by the end of 2023. And as we reach the end of 2023 now, with 27 days remaining or 28 days remaining, we're getting very close to 40K, right? We're actually on a doorstep. In fact, we reached 39.7K just a few hours ago here on Bitcoin, and we've seen excellent moves. We've seen Ethereum, for example, break this red horizontal line that separates the bull market in 2021 from the bear market and pre-bull market in 2020 and the bear market in 2022. That's excellent stuff for Bitcoin and for total cryptocurrency market cap. Even though it's on the Ethereum chart, it's still indicative of a broader market bullish trend. That's great stuff to see. Total cryptocurrency market cap has broken above a 4-hourly chart resistance that we looked at yesterday, surged right above it with a nice little surge in the volume. If we bring that up, we can see that was a clean break. It's really good to see. Of course, volume doesn't work very well in total cryptocurrency market cap, but we can look at the volume, for example, on the Bitcoin 4-hourly chart to represent that break. You can see a nice little spike on the volume in that break right there. The volume has been steadily decreasing, which is a warning sign for this upwards trend, but it's something we can look into a bit later in the video. As of right now, we're just recapping what's occurred, and we've seen basically an ascending wedge on Bitcoin, okay? And by the way, this is all predicted days ago by me. I said we had this descending 4-hourly chart line. I said we were testing these equal highs here. If we broke these equal highs, the move would be rapid. It has been rapid. We broke the hourly chart, the 4-hourly chart RSI. We saw a move to the upside based on that, and we broke this ascending wedge formation. In contrast to what the odds were for it, right? An ascending wedge at resistance is a very bearish pattern. In fact, it breaks down roughly 74% of the time by itself. At resistance, it's probably going to be reaching 80%, but we've managed to defy the odds in that regard. We've come upwards above the wedge. We tested it for support on multiple occasions. We bounced off of it. We are still not out of danger. All right, let's be very clear. We are still not out of danger because we're not above 40K. All right, it's as simple as that. All right, and we're going to look into that in a second, but the fact of the matter is we have seen a higher high. We have seen this upwards trend still continue to power through. We've seen the price surge to the upside. Upwards trend, now lasting over 2 months, close to 3 months of pure upwards trend with not a single higher, with not a single lower low or a single lower high, right? Consistently higher lows, consistently higher highs, and this entire upwards trend close to 3 months now is absolutely insane strength for Bitcoin, right? We've seen this move span now from September 11th, roughly 60% to the upside, but that's enough recapping. Okay, let's get into the actual realities. The reality is it's been doing very well, but what about what we're going to do? All right, and what about where is it going to go next? That's the big questions. Where is Bitcoin going to go next, and what are we going to do to react? Well, I'll tell you right now, my opinions are shifting. All right, I've said things in previous videos that I'm slightly altering now because new data is coming in, and I have to adapt to this data. This is trading 101. When new data comes in, you adapt to the data. All right, that's what I'm going to be doing in this video slightly, but overall, my overall premise still stays the same. Where is the major resistance for Bitcoin? Well, we can look at that from this perspective here. It's the easiest way to look at it. I know this chart looks complicated. We'll simplify it now. As we discussed, this channel is broken. It's an unconfirmed breakout at this point in time. It will be confirmed in 21 hours if we remain above the channel. But that's not really what we're looking at here, right? That's something we can discuss tomorrow. That's going to be a big news tomorrow. But today it's not, because it's unconfirmed. We can't really say much about it at the moment. What we can talk about is this red box here. This is the major macro resistance level we are facing right now. This is the level I'm talking about that is not broken yet. This is the level we need to get above, okay? We need to get above this level. And we're looking at the volume profile. Where exactly is that level? That level stems from around 37.5k to 40k. Okay, so we need to get above that level. It's very important we do so. It's very rational from an investing 101 perspective. This is the fundamental rule of investing and fundamental rule of trading. You, generally speaking, unless you have significant reason to do so, all right, you don't buy at resistance and you don't sell at support. Guys, we're at resistance right now. What does that rule say? It says don't buy, right? That's not my opinion. That's the reality of investing 101. Any trader will tell you that is the truth about resistance and support in general. So if a trader, if an investor is willing to accept that this level at 37.5k to 40k is resistance, therefore they should be willing to accept the number one premise of trading, which is don't buy at resistance. I mean, that's just basic stuff. This is not a groundbreaking opinion to have. But it's a little more nuanced than even that, right? So previously I've said if we get above 40k, we flip that level, we can buy. Look, I want to make something very clear. We've been buying since bloody 17k, all right? So it's not like this is the first time we bought Bitcoin. Our average price on Bitcoin on this YouTube channel is like probably 19k, 20k at this point. We bought at 17, 18, 19, 21, 28, all right? So we're not, and 32. So we're not going to sit here and say that, you know, it's very, very important that we get 40k instead of 38k. It's just not, it's not a big difference in these prices here. This is not an important buying range. In fact, I know many people who are not stacking their Bitcoin bags anymore. They're focusing on other things. But for people who are looking to buy, looking to get into Bitcoin, I mean, logically speaking, yeah, you need to get above this macro level as a minimum. But on top of that, you also need to consider the circumstances of where you're buying, right? Because I don't actually think it's as simple as that anymore. And this is where I'm kind of shifting from my views yesterday and the day before, right? I don't think it's as simple as, oh, we need to get above 40k, then it's safe to buy. Because what do you mean by safe to buy? That's what you need to consider. What do you mean by safe to buy? Do you mean we're not going to go below 40k anymore? Because I can't promise that at all. I'm not going to sit here and say that Bitcoin's not going to go below 40k. I just simply don't think that's true, to be honest. I think it's not true. I think I can sit here and say pretty confidently, I do not believe that Bitcoin will go below 28.6k, but I don't believe at 39k, right, after a 56 or 60% move to the upside, with maximum exhaustion on the weekly chart RSI reaching 78, right? With stochastic RSI reaching a peak, being peaked out for close to 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay, I can't sit here and say that Bitcoin's not going to drop below 40k ever again, therefore if you buy above that level it's completely safe, you're never going to lose money. It's just not a rational thing to say. It's all nuanced, because obviously my buying price is much lower. What I will say is that is the logical buy from a macro TA perspective. Okay, that's what I will say. But you know, if you know, people buy at 40k based on these videos, which by the way you shouldn't necessarily be doing it. You know, this is not gospel. This isn't just opinions that you need to consider. But if you're buying at 40k, this is not a level where you can consider, where you can say, oh, Bitcoin's going to hold this forever because this is cyclically backed. This level is not cyclically backed by anything, right? We could certainly lose this level and go down. I think on a long-term basis, it is a smart, logical buy. But it's important you understand what exactly you're getting yourself into if you do choose to proceed in buying above that level at 40k. Now, for conservative traders, for conservative investors, it is very important that you actually watch the monthly chart right now as well. Because I've spoken very much about how, from a volume profile perspective, the macro level is 40k, and then above that level, there's actually no real resistance until 48k. And that actually is true from a macro level perspective. That is true from a horizontal resistance analysis perspective. But if we're looking at the monthly chart, we're looking at the baseline from the Ichimoku cloud, okay? And basically, you know, as I said, this is the baseline from the Ichimoku cloud. I've removed everything else. I've removed the conversion line, lagging spans, etc. It's all gone. This baseline is actually very important from a monthly chart perspective. If you look at the red line on the screen right now, you can see it's very much been important, especially since around 2016. Okay, it's been tested for support during bull runs. Once we lost it in bear markets, we've gone down from there. We rejected from it in 2019 quite critically. We got back above it during the bull run here. It held for support during 2021. It lost for support in 2022. It led to a massive drop in the bear market. This is a level, and where is this level? Well, this level is actually sitting at 42k. So just above where you'd actually be wanting to buy Bitcoin from a horizontal level perspective. And that actually might bring some people to be inclined to wait for a monthly candle close above 42k before entering. Right? That's from a conservative perspective. I feel the need to highlight that to some people. Because I feel like if your average price is down like me at 20k, 21k, it's not really necessary to worry about whether you're going to get in at 38k, 39k, 40k, 42k. They're all kind of the same number because the average price is so far down, it doesn't really even matter. So for me personally, I'm not looking to rush into buys here. I'm looking for conservative buys. I don't really care about my average price. Like it's so low. It's I guess some people would take a different perspective. They would say, oh, my average price is so low that I'll just buy wherever. But I personally don't do that. I buy when the TA is actually consistent with buying. And I think that if you're just considering the circumstances of this recent move, yeah, we're exceptionally bullish. Yeah, we're confirming at the moment, or in the process of confirming, a break above one of the only bearish structures that's actually remaining for Bitcoin. This is all true, and the cyclical theory is certainly bullish, and everything is looking very good. For example, as I said before, Ethereum, total cryptocurrency market cap, it's all looking great. But that doesn't negate the fact that Bitcoin is up so significantly from a low without any sort of correction whatsoever. It's up 60%. You just can't get around that. And, just as not buying at resistance is a rule, a rule is also don't buy into the hype, don't buy into massive uptrends. That's another rule as well. Now, obviously, that rule doesn't apply always, because in bull markets, it doesn't necessarily apply, but we're not in a bull market yet, right? We're not in a cyclical bull market yet. A cyclical bull market starts after the halving. So I want people to really understand that, certainly, in my opinion, the charts don't suggest buying until above 40k, until that level is clearly flipped. But even more intricately, you could even argue that the charts don't confirm buying until a monthly candle close above 42k, above the baseline of the Ichimoku cloud. This is something Megawell Crypto, who you might know, speaks about quite extensively on YouTube. In fact, he's the one who brought this to my attention. So I think it's very important to understand the nuance of the situation. I think that if you're really, really, truly concerned about what exact price you're going to be buying at in the 40k region, it's potentially because you didn't pay enough attention to anything in the last year and a half. You've had so long to be buying Bitcoin. This should not be a pressing concern of what exact price you get in this 40k region. It's all kind of null to me. It's void to me. It's not relevant to me that much. But yes, of course, as I said, above 40k is needed. We're still at macro resistance. If you wanted to be really, really particular about it, you could even wait for a monthly candle close above the baseline. I personally won't be doing that, I don't think. But that is something that I know a lot of people will be doing. Especially considering that we've seen rejections from this baseline before, such as in 2019 in a mid-cycle correction, which lines up exactly basically to where we are in the cycle right now. And we saw 6, 7, 8 months of rejection based on that. So it is a significant line. And, I do expect Bitcoin to reject at some point. I want to be very clear, I do not expect Bitcoin to surge all the way to its all-time high at 70k without any sort of correction. We will see a correction at some point. To me, if I'm looking at these levels, where do I see possible correction stemming from? Well, I see possible correction stemming from where we are right now, right, which looks less and less likely by the day. I see a possible correction stemming from 42k at that baseline, with a potential strong wick above 48k, which is just what we did in 2019. And then I see a potential rejection coming from 48k itself, which could actually line up with what I just said, in a baseline rejection from the monthly close with a wick above the 48k. I think it's very possible, if not likely, that Bitcoin sees a rejection, a considerable correction, from 48k or near 48k or somewhere around that region in the 40ks. I don't think Bitcoin will reach the 50s without correcting. It just doesn't seem, from a charting perspective, it just does not seem likely. It simply doesn't. I just have to be clear with you. It just doesn't seem likely that we see a 2x in Bitcoin's price at this point in the cycle without any significant correction. It just simply does not seem likely. But, some people would argue, oh, well, what about the ETF approvals? And obviously, when it comes to news events, when it comes to fundamental events like the ETFs, which are coming right in around January 10th, I believe, which is where I just marked that yellow line. It's not very far away. You could certainly see price have irrationalities based around that. But I would argue, quite confidently actually, that the vast majority of this upwards move we've seen since September, 60% of the upside, is perhaps a front run, a pre-run, whatever you call it, foreshadowing that ETF approval. So on the occurrence that it's denied, we'll see a massive drop. But on the occurrence that it's approved, yeah, we'll probably see some upwards price action, but it won't be as significant as people are expecting. We're not going to go to 100k based on it, I don't think. So that's very important to note, and it's also important to note that regardless of the fundamentals, regardless of what happens in the news level, the charts will always reflect that, okay? And the charts moving upwards over the last year is, in a way, a reflection of this ETF news to begin with. So it doesn't all rest on the immediate decision. The pre-run up to that decision is actually just as important, if not more important, than the decision itself. And we've seen that over and over again whenever there is an anticipation for news events. What is the market, guys? You know, the market fundamentally, financial markets fundamentally, they don't predict they don't represent the valuation of an asset at the present moment. They represent the valuation of an asset, you know, speculatively in the future. That's what financial markets are. That's what they do. So, you know, this price action is, of course, a result of the ETFs coming up. Of course it is. And with that said, you could even make the argument that it could be a sell the news event. Who knows? You know, I'm not going to sit here and say I know for sure because I don't. I don't think it's possible to, but it's certainly a possibility. Okay, so I will say that. You know, we're reaching a situation on Bitcoin, and we've got this chart here, which I think you actually should be watching. It's quite important, this chart, I think. This is a chart that, if we're looking, I've kind of missed a cycle. Let me chuck that line in there and remove this one over here. This is a 4-year cycle chart from a very simple perspective, a yearly candle perspective. And you can see each one of these one red candles is the bear markets we've seen historically, the 3 historical bear markets from a cyclical perspective. Now look at the candle following those bear market candles. I'm marking them right here, right? Historically, they have not overlapped. They have not been engulfing, right? They have not closed above the previous red candles open, right? Right now we're in a situation where the previous candle opened at around 46K. If we get to 48K on Bitcoin and we close the yearly candle above 48K, we'll have a situation we've never had before, in which we're closing a candle above the previous bear market's open candle on the yearly perspective. Now, that would be insanely bullish, of course, from a TA perspective, but in a way, it's not actually what we want to see. You know, like, I want to be very clear with you right now. I don't want to see Bitcoin go to 100K over the next few months. I don't think it will happen, and I don't want to see it even if it does. Because I want Bitcoin to remain as cyclically predictable as possible. I do not want to see a bull market until after the halving. Because my short-term greed and my short-term profits will not be worth the 10 years of cyclical theory that we're throwing out the window if we do that. I want Bitcoin to remain as predictable as possible. That is why throughout the entirety of the bear market in 2022, I was saying, I hope to God that Bitcoin goes down for another year. I pray it goes down for another year. Because that was the most cyclically relevant thing. That was the most cyclically predictable thing. And it did that, and that was perfect. I did not want Bitcoin to reverse. I was happy watching my industry go downwards in valuation. Because that is what cyclically, constituted. That's what the cyclical theory suggests. So, in the same breath, I do not want Bitcoin to go on an absolute ballistic bullish rampage over the next 3 months. I don't want to see it. I want to see Bitcoin perhaps go upwards, perhaps accumulate, ultimately not really start to kick off properly until mid to late next year. That's what I want to see from a cyclical level. And I think that's what we will see, because that's the only basis of what we have to predict from. We only have history on our side. But seeing Bitcoin reach these highs, these very high valuations, is not, honestly, not really what I want to see. I want to see Bitcoin close below this red candle. I hope we do that. I think we will, but I hope we do that. We've got 28 days remaining. So basically, guys, you know, it's been a pretty diverse video, and I don't want to keep you for too long. I never want to. But basically, we've discussed a few things. The short term looks great. Okay, short term looks good. We're moving upwards quite rapidly. We're still at resistance. We're still below 40K. Even from an aggressive trading perspective, I don't think you should be... look, I don't want to give you financial advice. It's not financial advice. You guys need to invest at your own risk. I'm not legally responsible for anything, obviously. I want to clarify that. But basically, from a TA 101 perspective, and what I will personally be doing, I will not be buying unless we break 40K confidently. If we do that, I will strongly consider buying. But ultimately, I think actually what you need to be looking at as well, which I think a lot of people are just ignoring, is the fact that this upwards trend has gone upwards 60% without any significant correction. We're very overvaluated on RSI, things like that. And we've got this hidden resistance at the monthly chart on the baseline at 42K that you need to consider as well. I certainly see a scenario in which Bitcoin goes all the way to 48K on a wick and then starts its correction from there, and that lasts months. I do see that scenario as actually a possibility, certainly. But yes, I stand by what I said. If Bitcoin gets above 40K, if Bitcoin closes above this channel, that's very, very bullish. There are nuances surrounding it. I believe that any buying below 40K is quite ludicrous and unbacked, to be honest with you. 40K is the lowest level I think that buying should occur. That's my personal opinion, and that's probably what I'm going to be acting on. But I'll keep you informed on that because the market is changing, and obviously I have to adapt based on the changes. So, I can't sit here and say that my opinions today are going to be the same next week on a short-term level. I can say that on a long-term level, on a cyclical level, they will be. That's the beauty of TA, and adaptability is the name of the game, guys. So it's important you stay up to date with the recent videos. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Before we end the video today, I highly recommend you stick around for the advertisements at the end. Okay guys, to start off with, we have the VIP group on Telegram. We post altcoin trading signals on there with entry, targets, stop loss requirements, everything you need to take a trade on altcoins. You have the free trial information and you have the PDF with all of the historical trading results with a whopping 80.58% win rate. Check that out on Telegram if you're interested. We then have the Bingx exchange, a global non-KYC exchange where you can sign up from anywhere in the world with just an email address and a password. And then the Bitget exchange, a global KYC exchange anywhere in the world besides the United States of America. Both have extremely low trading fees, both have never been hacked, and both have extensive protection funds to protect you in case of a hack and reimburse you on your funds in case of a hack. And both have my referral links down below with 15% trading fee discounts respectively. For signing up, you can save thousands over the course of a lifetime on that exchange with my referral link below. Go ahead and do that to support the channel and support yourself by getting on a good exchange that you can trust, at least to a certain extent. And then moving forward, because I don't believe in exchange holding, but certainly for trading, it's a good idea. And then for Crypto Academy, we have the Become a Trader 10-unit course. You can learn everything you need to know about trading from this course. Market analysis, market patterns, indicators, candlestick formations, market psychology, how to find trades, investor strategies and tools. Everything you need is on this course in a university style format, and the information for contact is on that website, which is all linked down below. So Telegram, Bingx, Bitget, Crypto Academy, it's all below. Thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you tomorrow.